All right, let's just dive right in. We're about to tackle an idea that's, well, it's pretty uncomfortable. It's something that goes against pretty much everything we've ever been taught about success. And it's this simple, kind of maddening truth. Hard work, all by itself, is almost never the path to getting truly wealthy. I mean, really think about it. We celebrate the grind. We admire people who sacrifice and put in those crazy long hours. So why is it that the people who are literally breaking their backs are so often the ones just barely breaking even? That's the core question we are going to unpack right here.
You see, this painful paradox, it exists for one big reason. The real rules of the money game are not what they told us in school. The whole idea that your effort directly translates to financial success is, to put it bluntly, a myth.
So let's start by just calling it what it is. We'll call it the hard work lie. It's the foundation for so much of the advice we get, but you know what? It's a foundation that's built on some really shaky ground. And I get it. Hearing that hard work isn't the key, it can feel like a straight-up insult, especially if you've been busting your butt your entire life. And yeah, it absolutely sounds unfair. It feels like your effort should be what gets rewarded. It feels like the world should be this just place where all that dedication actually pays off in the end. But here's the thing. Our feelings don't change how the system actually works. This isn't about motivation or about what's right or wrong. It's about understanding the cold, hard mechanics of how wealth is actually built. So this is the most crucial point to get. The financial system doesn't have feelings. It doesn't measure your sweat or your stress or how many hours you skipped sleeping. It measures and rewards something completely different. And figuring out what that something is, well, that changes everything. So why does effort alone fail? It really comes down to a fundamental limit that every single one of us has. Let's call it the effort ceiling. Yeah, 24. That's it. This number right here is the hard, unbreakable limit we're all stuck with. There are only 24 hours in a day. It doesn't matter how determined you are, how efficient you are, you cannot create more time. Your effort is capped, period. And this really shows the two basic models. On one side, you're trading your time for money. Think about a nurse who works a 12-hour shift. She gets paid for those 12 hours. But the second she clocks out, the income stops. On the other side, you build systems that generate money. You create, say, a digital product, or you own a rental property that can make you money even when you're not actively working on it. And this is the cold, hard truth of it. The market does not care how physically exhausting your job is. What it cares about is scale, your ability to impact a lot of people at once. A construction worker can only build one wall at a time, but the software that designs the building, that can be sold to 1 million architects at the same time. That's scale. Okay, so if pure effort has a ceiling, how in the world do you break through it? The answer, the solution, is found in what we'll call the leverage equation. This right here, this is the game changer. Leverage is the tool that finally disconnects your income from the hours you put in. It's all about creating an output that's way, way bigger than your individual input. It's the definition of working smarter, not just harder. So what does leverage actually look like? Well, it comes in a few key forms. You've got ownership, like having equity in a business. There's having a highly specialized skill, a unique talent that you can scale up with technology. Then there's capital, which is just using money to make more money through investing. And finally, distribution, having access to an audience or a big network. The problem is, most hard workers are only relying on their personal effort, and that's the one resource that just doesn't scale. And that's the real difference, isn't it? You can always add more effort, sure, but you can never multiply it. 1 hour of your work will always be just 1 hour of your work. But $1 you invest, or one piece of code you write, that can multiply its impact 1,000 times over. So let's make this crystal clear. Let's put these two mindsets right next to each other and see how they stack up. Effort versus leverage. So the hard worker, they believe that more hours equals more progress. They just try to run faster on the exact same treadmill. The leverage builder, on the other hand, they're playing a different game. They believe in long-term control. They're okay with what looks like boring, slow progress at first, because they aren't just running. They're building a whole new vehicle. You know, there's another hidden cost to this effort-only approach. Being constantly exhausted just kills your ability to think long-term. When you're just trying to survive the week, you're not sitting down and planning your financial future. You're just reacting. And a lot of times, that means spending money just to relieve the stress of working so hard in the first place. So why do we do this? Because pure effort feels familiar,
right? It feels productive. It feels honorable. Building leverage, on the other hand, that feels risky. It feels uncertain. So we stick with what we know, and that very familiarity becomes a financial trap.
Now, let's be super clear. This does not mean hard work is useless. Not at all. The goal is to completely change its purpose. It's about putting work to work.
This is the strategic shift you have to make. Your hard work shouldn't be the final product. It should be the raw material. The whole point is to use that temporary effort to build permanent assets. You use your salary to buy an investment. You use your expertise to create a system that can run without you.
But here's the catch. Here's why so few people actually do this. The whole process of building leverage, it is so unglamorous at the beginning. It's slow, it's boring, and for a really long time, it feels like you're making zero progress at all.
And then, one day, the curve bends. That slow, boring, compounding thing suddenly explodes into exponential growth. All that foundational work that felt like a total waste of time suddenly reveals itself as the single most productive thing you could have possibly been doing. So I'll leave you with this one question to really think about. Take a good look at the effort you put in every single day. Is that effort building something that will pay you tomorrow and next month and next year? Or is it just building this week's paycheck? Because the answer to that question, well, it's going to determine your entire financial future.